All right. So this is an impromptu live stream. I wasn't planning to do this one, but I was doing some work. Actually, let me tell you up front because somebody is not going to watch the live stream, but they will pick up the replay. So let me tell you in the first, 30 seconds whether this is worth you going deeper or not. I was doing some work this morning. I was moving a project from Monday.com, which is a project management software, over to Basecamp. And so as I was doing the work, I was thinking, somebody else out there is going to have the same problems that I had and same reasoning or logic of why they need to make the shift. So I'm going to record something on this because it's going to help somebody. So if that might be you, I'm going to break down why I chose the first one, what I liked about it, why I'm making the shift to Basecamp, what I like about that, and then I'll show you. I don't have the Basecamp one fully set up yet, but I'll at least show you what I was doing in Monday and why I like that platform and I didn't like other things about it. Make sense? So the project that I'm doing, here's my situation. Here's why I'm doing this. So most of my work, most of my calendar and my time that I have allocated for work, I want to have a life outside of work as well. Most of that is going to Sales Map right now. Those of you who know me know what Sales Map, you've heard me talk about it. I have partners there. We're really busy. We're excited about what we're doing there. So that's like 90% of my day, 90% of my calendar is booked up for Sales Map meetings, activities, and growth. What I'm sharing today is a slice into what I'm doing in that other 10%, because on a monthly basis, I've been doing a client getting workshop. And to support that, I have to be really efficient with my time and the structures that I have to support the folks I'm working with, because I only have 10%. It can't spill over. It can't eat up half my calendar to do that work. I've got to set it up to work for me and work for the folks I'm working with, to support them in the workshop, both before, during the workshop, and after. So that is specifically what I needed this for. Monday.com is a new platform that I've been using. I've actually used, for the past, I've used Asana, we've used Trello, we've used Zoho, pretty much every project management system that's out there. I've had to use it either for myself or for client projects. So I've used a bunch of them. This was my first experience with Monday.com. And I'll show you in a minute how we set it up, what I liked about it. But I'm going to work backwards on this one, again, because some folks, you don't have time to sit around and watch along the live stream here. I understand that. I feel the same way. So let's get to the point. When I'm shifting to Basecamp, because Basecamp, in my opinion, while it doesn't do all the things that I want to do, it is better at consolidating the communication into one channel that I can manage. So when I set up Monday.com, I told my workshop participants, this is where we're going to communicate. If you have a question, you can post it here. I'm going to answer it here. This is a priority for me. This is one of the things that I will check first thing in the morning to make sure everyone's getting what they need. That was sort of my agreement with the folks coming into the workshop. In the last several weeks, we've run the workshop a couple times now. In the last several weeks, that is completely unspooled, right? I'm talking to folks on WhatsApp, I'm talking on Messenger, I'm talking on LinkedIn, and that's not good for me because all those inboxes are just jammed up with messages because of the work that I do with, on LinkedIn and Facebook. It's the outreach where I'm constantly talking to folks that are coming into our expert referral network. It's easy, and I have lost messages in each of those inboxes where I was supposed to follow up with someone, or they said, hey, I made this introduction to you. I never saw it. That's how busy those inboxes are. Now, to be fair, Facebook does flow into your email, and traditionally email is also an inbox that's not easy to manage. But what I like about the Basecamp setup, and I'll show you in a couple examples in a moment, what I like about Basecamp is it's flowing into email, but you also have the record in the project management area itself as well. So the combination, and you can control what notifications. So I feel like there's flexibility on the communication side. So let me show you first. No, this is what I want to do. No. There we go. So this is an example of, this is from the new Basecamp. They're on their third version. in particularly, one of the things that they have in Basecamp that I really, really like is this automatic check-ins. That means that you can set up, let's say every Tuesday you want to follow up with your people and say, you know, what's going on in your world? What do you need from me? Or in this case, they're saying, what's one thing that you inspire? This is a way, a remote team, very relevant, I think, to folks out there right now, because we're all experiencing this sequestration, shelter at home, you know, we're working more remotely than we ever have been before. How do you build the team culture in a remote world? Basecamp not only is a tool to do that, but they run their own team remotely. They're all over the map. They're one of these businesses that is not based in a physical office, but they have members all over the world on their team. So they use their own tools. But this is an example of one thing from a communication channel perspective. I really like that they've baked this into Basecamp, and that I can set these up and I can stay in touch and sort of send out reminders automatically without having to chase people. Because again, I have to be really lean and efficient in this process. So that was one thing I wanted to share with you. Let me get rid of that one. Let me actually share something different. Bear with me for a second because I'm steering. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So this is the screen. This is actually how I'm using Monday.com. You don't need me on the screen. So this is the master, which means it's, I set up a master template of, this is called the Client in a Day workshop. So you're getting a sort of peek behind the scenes. And what I liked about, and we're in Monday.com, by the way, if this is what I'm moving away from this system. So what I spent the morning doing was taking all my notes out of this, or making copies of it actually, so that I can close this account down and move it over to Basecamp, and I'll structure it a little bit differently because of how the tools are there. But the first thing when people would enroll, I had this, let's get ready to be ready. I had a video welcome to folks. Then I had some pre-homework where I wanted them to start creating the list of who are they and what are they good at? Like, what are the things that their friends ask them to do for them all the time, or people say, how, like people just recognize that they have a superpower. We wanted to make an inventory of that. So that's like a early, getting started activity. And I really like that Monday had these statuses and priority levels. So this was probably for me at least, the big win in Monday.com was being able to tag things this way. And by the way, the tags don't work the same way in Basecamp. So I'm trading off gains on the communication channels, and I'm losing this tagging mechanism that I really like. So if you hear me Basecamp, I'm showing you this was how I set it up, and I really liked it. I'm not going to be able to do this anymore unless I figure out a workaround. And I don't know what that would be yet. But with the status and the priorities, you can change these. So for example, when I would put, it says master up here right now, but if I had a new client enroll for the workshop, I would copy this over to create their own project, put their name in here so they know it's theirs. And the purple waiting for review, this was the first thing that I wanted it to be eye-catching. And you can change these statuses. So they could say, oh, I'm stuck on this one. I couldn't get the video to play, or yes, this is done. Or you'll also see that I have, assigned out to people later on in the bottom. There's some pending ones, but this is the status. So we could kind of communicate. We've got a process. We're going down through the process. Where do we actually stand? Similar to on Basecamp, this will be more of a checkbox kind of format. I also wanted to code everything to, is this step required? Is it high priority? We've got some recommended, and we've got some bonus extras. So I also like this to sort of tell people, how important is this step? Is it something extra that I'm giving you that, some people like to do everything. Their personality is I'm going to do the alphabet and I'm going to do it 3 times. Or just do they have the personality there where they say, just give me A, B, and C, and then I'm going to jump to X, Y, and Z. I don't need everything in between. So everyone does this differently, and I wanted to structure the work so they would be able to see it. So this is sort of how we started. And then I deliver what's called a week before kit because I want to concentrate the activity in that week before the workshop. I have some specific things that I want them to do. We take those superpowers and we turn it into a superpowered offer. We do an offer audit. We talk about micro audiences. We talk about an incident authority framework. These are all playbooks that I've built up over the years. We use a lot of this information. It's what I brought into the sales map process that we do with our clients and our business development pros. But some of these things are just, I've learned them along the way and I've modified them. This is how I execute on them. So I put my notes together in this web kit. And so folks are getting this a full 7 days before, naming the signature program, doing some competitive research, the competitive landscape around them. So they're working down through these items, right? They would get this immediately. They would get this one released a week before. You can sort of, I thought I could close this up. I don't remember how to do that now. And I thought I could close the whole list. But then here is the full workshop. The last one I did was on the 27th. The next one is coming up on May 1st. We talked about the offer accelerator rubric. Casual conversation starters, the We Need to Chat invitation framework. These are booking your first call, booking your next 5 calls. This is the process that we're like, the workshop is called Client in a Day workshop. And so it's how do we lay out a process to go get a client? Like, what is the most direct path? What does that actually look like? And to do that, we want to talk to people. So that's why the booking, these are tasks. These are not playbooks as much as this is part of the accountability that we bake in. Killer questions to handle objections, question of all questions, and then after action reports. So these are, I've sort of broken the whole process. The workshop happens in a 1-day workshop. It's not a teaching workshop. It's let's get our hands dirty and do the work workshop. That's why the work is capitalized, to emphasize that. It's not about information, it's about execution. But again, I'm moving away from this format. Let me go back to StreamYard because I want to talk with you guys. So how do I do this? Yeah. So I want to move away from Monday.com because it's just been killing me on the communication side. Even though I thought I structured a pretty nice sort of project management system with priorities and being able to see the structure, people were not communicating there. Now, somebody out there is going to ask, maybe you did, let me look at the chat, the comments. Somebody out there is going to say, well, wait a minute, doesn't Monday.com have email notifications too? Like, why, what's the problem here? Well, the problem is that when the notifications come in by email, I would see them, but I could not see the detail of what the email was saying. I had to click from the email into Monday.com to go get the meat of what's going on. So that was really frustrating. Like, it was just an extra step that wasn't needed. With Basecamp, you can actually read the email, you can hit reply, and it will post so you can have a conversation in email, and it's posting into Basecamp at the same time. So it's a much more natural communication flow that way. Maybe Monday.com does it too. I don't know, but I couldn't figure out how to make it. It was just driving me nuts, to be honest with you. The other thing I want to show real quick, because this might be of interest to folks. So when you do look at Monday.com, you'll see there's not a lot of details here, right? So for example, what would be a good, so like if we were to say, make your list of superpowers, if I open this one up, this updates is like a little conversation. This is where I could chat with people. They could like it and reply, like a conversational communication channel back and forth about this specific task. But in the info box, this is how Monday works. The info box allowed me to create, like, here's the directions, here's, links, videos, homework. So all the notes that happen in, for this specific task were listed in this sort of side channel that would open up that way. What happened, what I'll do over in LinkedIn is I'll actually just build those into playbooks there, and we'll create a task and we'll link to those playbooks so people can get the information. Many times a Google Doc if it's homework, or a video if they have to watch it, whatever the case is, we'll have those links to the resources there. But it was just, Monday's beautiful, but a little bit confusing. I guess that's my bottom line summary here. I don't know if this is helpful for folks, but when I do the work when I'm doing work myself and I'm kind of self-monitoring and saying, well, I wonder who else might benefit from this. I put a lot of time researching Monday.com. Like I said, I've used a lot of other platforms. Basecamp is where I'm going, and I showed you at the beginning of the video why. If this benefits you, I'd love to know that, because I'll do more of things that work and less of what doesn't. If you're interested in the Client in a Day workshop, you can shoot me a note. I'm actually doing a webinar with Mark Mawhinney in the Coaching Jungle coming up, not this week, but next week, Friday of next week. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about that. If that's of interest to you, I'd love to chat with you about that too. But long story short, I thought this might be some useful information for folks. So I wanted to share it here. Bye now.